Good morning. And so before I start today, I'm going to give we've been doing a PSA for our class in September. So this month we're talking about prosperity. And in September, we are going to do a month-long series on prosperity. We're going to do a class on prosperity. And Reverend Sonia is going to be using Prosperity by Charles Fillmore. Chris, our LUT, is going to be using Karen Ponder's book on prosperity. And I'll be using Eric Butterworth's, yeah, right. I forgot my own. Eric Butterworth's book on spiritual economics. So that is sort of the framework for all of this. And we've been getting some really critical tasks to do going forward. So I'm going to tell you that this lesson is going to start with a bunch of questions, because that's how I get to truth for me. I get to truth through questions. And so the first question is, can you believe that nothing can keep you from your good? Can you believe that? Can you believe that nothing can keep you from your good but you? Okay. The second question is, what does it mean to live in prosperity? Not to have it, but to live in it. How do I live in prosperity? Third question is, how do you define success? And then how will you know when you are successful? You know, I love words. I love definitions, and I spend a lot of time going through dictionaries. I have this really big one that, you can kind of do word sources. I just love it. I had a friend whose grandfather, as a matter of fact, he could not speak and he could not hear. But he spent most of his days reading the dictionary. He read the dictionary from cover to cover a couple of times. I always thought that was amazing. And he used to tell me it's the most important book in the world. So anyway, I love words. I love definitions. And the first definition I just want to throw out at you is the definition of affluence. And we all have a mindset of what that means. But the true definition of affluence is abundant flow. And what the dictionary particularly says is specifically not connected to things. Okay? So just kind of hold that out there. That's affluence. You know, Unity teaches that prosperity is not about having things, but rather it's about a consciousness that attracts things to us. And so a starting point in realizing prosperity is to accept the fact that you have to take personal responsibility for your own thoughts and your own actions and your own attitudes toward prosperity. And it means taking charge of your life. I had a therapist who used to tell me all the time, Vita, get in the driver's seat of your life. Get in the driver's seat. Quit being a passenger, thinking that somebody, something is taking you somewhere else. Just get in the driver's seat. You are not a passenger in your own life. You are the driver of your own life. You know, and Thoreau just said, just keep moving in the direction of your dreams. Whether or not you ever get there, you have to keep moving in that direction. So last week, Reverend Sonia talked a lot about substance, and that is a critical concept in Unity's dealing with prosperity. Now, the word substance comes from the Latin word, and the Latin word is substare, and it means that which stands under. That's the meaning of that word. So substance is there's substance standing underneath everything in the created universe. Okay? It is not something you get. It is something, whether you acknowledge it or not, you are living in it. You are living in it like a fish lives in water. It is there. And that substance is an underpinning. It's sort of like a safety net that you need to know is under all of your actions. Now, you may think you want to be able to manipulate it. You may think that you want to decide how it's going to work and for whom it's going to work and what is it going to look like and how is it going to show up. No. it is. And that substance is ours to work with and through. And it takes what the Quakers used to say, you have to pray and then you have to move your feet. Okay, Quakers never, they don't have very many doctrines, but that's one of the key ones that they use, which is pray and move your feet. You have to do something. You have to be a lot of things, but you also have to do something. So in the spirit of, so what am I supposed to do with all of this? I'm going to point you to what I found to be a black hole on the internet. It's something called the Legatum Prosperity Index of 2023. And it was put together by, it's a study, it's an extensive study, put together by something called the Legatum Institute, which is a UK-based think tank. And it goes into great, it has, I'm going to go into it in some detail, but it goes into great detail. It's got all these charts, and those of you who are into numbers, it's got all this statistical stuff that you can look at and examine. But it goes into detail about the types of prosperity. And they talk about 5 different types of prosperity. Now, we have a tendency to think of one type of prosperity. But they talk about 5 different types, and they talk about, and this is the order in which they place it: emotional, physical, mental, financial, and spiritual. Think about that again, okay? Emotional, physical, mental, financial, and spiritual. And the basic question that they asked when they did this study, and they have tens of thousands of people that they studied, is what does it mean to live in prosperity? That was their question. That was the one that they posed. And here are some of the conclusions that they came up with. So that they define prosperity is when all have the opportunity to thrive by fulfilling their unique potential and playing their part in growing ourselves, our community, and every person in it. Take that on. We have to play our part in growing ourselves. We get that. Our community, and every person in it. It doesn't say every person you like. It doesn't say, it's not every person you'd be willing to have coffee with. But every person. We cannot experience prosperity unless we raise the level of the lake, until it all comes up. It also says that prosperity is built, and they talk about it building it, that it's a transactional and a transitional kind of thing. It doesn't just happen. It happens over a period of time, just like raising that level. It happens, unless we get a flood in Texas, but it happens, it happens over time and through space. And it's built by empowered people. Think about that. What does it take to empower people? We think we know what maybe it takes to empower ourselves, but what does it take to empower people? And to empower people who create relationships and create a society that promotes well-being. Without a society that promotes well-being, they're saying none of us can have prosperity. That's a false god that we're chasing. They say prosperity is built on inclusiveness. And they don't only include human beings in that inclusiveness. They include all creatures, all created things, the planet itself, our rainforests, our waters, our oceans, our lakes, all of it. It has to be inclusive, because when we thrive, when all of that thrives, we all thrive. Again, that raising the level of the lake. And they make a point to say that prosperity is much more than finances. It's much more than success, and it is especially much more than just thriving. And they spend a lot of time talking about that, about the concept of just thriving, which was unique for me. So it's about peace, it's about health, it's about mutual support, and respect for all people. And it's about a world that works for everybody. Not a country that works for everybody, not a state that works for everybody. A world that works for everybody. We are citizens of this planet, and we will never experience prosperity until we do the work of raising the consciousness of the planet. And we start by knowing our own particular values and doing an honest assessment if we are living in alignment with them. That takes a lot of work. That's part of the work, is what are your values, and are you living the life that is in alignment with those values? Because that, living in that alignment, gives us an outline of what is important for us and what is important for our own personal prosperity. And we know some things. We know that words are creative. We know that they have the energy to draw to them. They're magnetic. We had lessons about that. We talked about that in class at one point. They're dynamic in that they go out, but they're also magnetic. They create waves that are magnetic, and they draw to themselves things that are like them. So think about this. Think about when your life's really working. You know how it is when things just click. The right person shows up, the right paper shows up, things just kind of work. And then think about the time that it seems like your world's in the dumpster. Nothing works. There's all of these obstacles that get thrown in your path. It's like, okay, not another thing, not another phone call, not another, demand on my time. Part of that is because of the energy that we're putting out and the expectation that we have. And I want to call your attention, and again, in the spirit of, so what do I do about this, to some words and phrases that we use all of the time and that we need to consider. You don't have to change them. Just think about them if you really want a prosperity consciousness. And the first of those is the word but. Okay. Now, but is a word, the dictionary says, it indicates self-limitation. Okay. Things like, I know I should, but I want to do this, but I want to go to the gym, but I want to eat lots of vegetables, but whatever. We've all been there. Okay. Think about every time you use the word but, what kind of self-limitation you're putting on yourself. Then you can choose, once you notice it, then you can choose whether or not you want to do something about it, whether you want to change it, whether you want to say something different, or exactly how you feel when you start doing all of this but stuff. Okay. That didn't come out exactly the way I. The second word is onlyness. Okay, onlyness. I only earn so much money. I only have so many hours in the day to do this. I'm only worth this. I only have that. Think about that. Think about what that onlyness does to you. And it has a really close relative, and that close relative is I can't-itis. Okay? So I can't-itis is I can't because. Okay, I can't because I'm old. I can't because I'm poor. I can't because my car's not working. I can't. Got it? How many times we do that? What does that do to the energy around you? Think about the words that we throw away, the phrases that we throw away, that are agents to kill our notion of prosperity. They cancel out our awareness of that substance that's underneath. So what if you said, instead of saying, I can't all the time, what if you said something like, I can because I am? Okay, we in Unity talk about the I amness of us. What do you put after your I am? Okay, what if you said, I can because I am? I'm plugged into that substance. I am who I am. And yeah, I don't always get it right, but, okay? And we do that even when we want it to change. The thing that pops up in our brain is the limitation. Is we are self-limiting. We don't even wait for other people to limit us. I mean, we do the dive first. I mean, we take it on first. So I'm going to propose that in some of these circumstances, we, instead of those words, we use the word yet. Okay? And the dictionary says that yet is a word, it refers to an event or an action that is presumed to be happening in the future. So it's a presumption that it will happen. So what if you said something like, I don't get this yet. I don't understand this yet. I don't have the money for a brand new house yet. I can't buy a new car yet. See how that energy shifts? Because it keeps alive for you that potential. Remember, there was a phrase, it's a unity phrase that's used a lot, but the best is yet to come. So just another three-letter word. Just keep that other three-letter word. You know, Teddy Roosevelt, who's somebody I'd love to read about, especially when Doris Kearns Goodwin writes his biography. And he said, do what you can with what you have right where you are. Just start. Doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it right the first time. You don't ever have to get it right any time. You just have to start where you are. Put one foot in front of the other and move forward. So, I want to just remind you of something else. Remember, Jesus always took what he had. He always started with what he had, right? And he took it, and before he did anything else with it, he gave thanks to it. Okay, so think about two instances that I know we're all familiar with. One of them is the wedding at Cana, and the other is the instance of the loaves and the fishes. If you go back and you consult your Bible, you will see in the Gospels it says Jesus took it, gave thanks, and then did something. He had gratitude. He gave thanks for what he had. And sometimes all we have is our breath, our life, our consciousness, our awareness. But we can give thanks if we start there. So start with what you have. Give thanks for it, whatever it is. Because gratitude is a causative energy. Gratitude, living in that energy, causes alignment. Okay, when you are in that, when you are grateful for what you have, grateful for who you are, grateful for the people in your life, even for the people you don't like, that gratitude allows prosperity. It allows room in a relationship, good or bad, to be. And for me, allowing is a really big word. Not one that I have conquered, but one that I work with almost every day, is to allow. It doesn't imply approving or disapproving or action or non-action. It's just allowing, just having that openness that allows. And gratitude gets you to allowing. Because, I'm sorry, it's hard for me to find the blessing when my life is in the dumpster. I know that that's a unity thing you're supposed to do. Find that, declare it all good. No, sometimes it is not all good. And then I get defensive because I contradict, it's like, no, I'm supposed to think that it's, no. There are times when our humanness sort of rises to the surface, and I'm not going to declare it good. I can't declare it good. The best thing I could do is allow it, and allow it to be. And so we have to learn to be grateful for things, for big stuff, major stuff, like our life, and our breath, and sunshine, and hopefully peace. But we also have to be grateful for the little stuff, like ice cream, and lemonade on a hot day in Houston, or chocolate anytime, or coffee first thing in the morning. Yeah. So we have to we have to have that awareness, that openness. And so the one final closing statement they make in this study, which I just love, it says, you can make of any day a dance, a dirge, or a death march. It's your day. And you're alive, hopefully. Notice I didn't say awake, I said alive. And so I'm going to ask you a final question. And that is, do you think you deserve prosperity? Yes. Do you think you deserve it? So I have created for myself a prosperity statement, and I would like to read it to you. And that's what I will close with. It says, I dare to see myself as strong, confident, capable, successful, and possessed of the patience, so that's one for me, possessed of the patience and the stability to keep on moving in the direction of my dreams. Thank you. Namaste.